One of the most difficult times in my life would definitely be, I would say, it's starting around 7th or 8th grade. You know, my family was trying to kind of push me into certain things, and I was not really, it's like it didn't make sense to me. So, like, I'm not trying to turn this into like a catfish story or anything, but one of the things that I struggled with a lot was obviously my sexuality, but it was during a time that it wasn't really talked about at all, and especially being in a very conservative Christian house, the word gay was not like ever brought up or anything like that, let alone trans. So as I was developing these feelings for, you know, people that you would assume at that point in time, same body as me, it was like very difficult for me to navigate those feelings. And so with the kind of the rise of the internet and chat rooms and instant messaging and everything, I very vividly remember creating a username and was just like, oh, I'm just gonna pretend to be a guy. And in my mind, I had just cashed it out as, oh, this is just gonna be like a joke, you know, haha, get my funnies off. I live in the middle of nowhere in a hill and I'm not harming anybody. But in hindsight, I realize now that it was obviously much, much deeper than that. It was a really, even though I didn't, like, I'm not proud of hurting people, but it was something that was really necessary for me to begin to understand myself. I was incredibly depressed. I started drinking a lot and taking a lot of pills and stuff to try to combat my inner demons at that point. And it was just incredibly dark time because there's no one that I could talk to. I couldn't tell my friends. I wasn't particularly close to a lot of people to begin with because I was like leading this double life and couldn't really, I don't know, just didn't relate very, very well with people. That was just the darkest point in my life would be most of my high school years, because I had this deep, dark secret that I couldn't communicate at all. And towards the end, I just went into self-destruct mode because I didn't want to have to carry that burden for the rest of my life. And I didn't see an out other than going out. Oddly enough, like during that time, the things that kept me, I guess, somewhat sane were music, obviously. That's a big part for me. Listening to it, being able to identify with other people in some way, and playing, you know, my guitar very poorly was another means. And writing was probably the most important. You know, I would sing, and I was horrible singing at that point in time. Maybe I'm still horrible now, I don't know, but it was mostly just writing, because it was the only place I could be authentic to myself in some way, but it was also very self-loathing at that point in time. But I couldn't communicate with anyone else, so it was literally like talking to myself or talking to God. So if I was to go back to not even high school, I mean maybe even sooner, to like middle school, when I was starting to realize, wow, I really do have these feelings that don't seem to be as in line with, you know, a lot of other people, I would say, relax, don't panic. We all, you know, whatever your struggle may be, we all have struggles. We all may feel a little weird and different than other people around us, but there's nothing wrong with you. As long as, you know, you're not hurting people or things. There's nothing really wrong with you. And just because people maybe don't like you or like what you may threaten in their belief system, it has nothing to do, like who you are has nothing to really do with who they are in the end. And the only person you have to answer to at the end of the day is yourself. And so try your best to be as true to yourself as possible. Don't worry about what people say or the consequences. You're not diseased. You're not a freak. There's nothing wrong with you. It may be a little uncommon, but there certainly has been people before you that have felt this way. And there are certainly people right now that feel this way. And there will definitely be people in the future that feel this way. So, it's okay. You matter, you're needed, and you rock.